Hey there, Cryo fans. It's Anna here, your host on the CryoCeo podcast. I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Marcus Wilson, the CEO and co-founder of CryoBuild, one of the largest cryotherapy manufacturers in the world, with a mission to make cryotherapy widely accepted and adopted form of wellness and recovery while increasing accessibility and awareness of whole body cryotherapy. I have a confession to make here. I stole this mission statement for some of my interviews. I hope that's fine.
That's perfect.
Anyway, with a background deeply rooted into refrigeration, Marcus transitioned from overseeing his family's commercial and industrial business to pioneering advancements in cryotherapy. Marcus, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you as our guest.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Anna, and looking forward to discussing.
So, in your own words, how would you describe your journey from freezing food to freezing people, as you like to say?
Yeah, that's definitely something I coined, like freezing food from freezing people. So our previous business was commercial and industrial refrigeration. So we were manufacturing and servicing grocery stores, cold storage facilities, prisons, um, anything from like food processing, casinos, all up and down. It was really large systems. These are distributed refrigeration systems. They're using cascade technology, which is very similar to what was used in cryo. So my dad actually started doing that when he was probably like 15 years old. So his whole entire life, I grew up around that. That's what I did. I 100% thought I was going to be a professional baseball player when I was growing up, and I realized that that wasn't going to happen. Luckily, I was going to college. Throughout college, I never really did any internships. I was just always helping my dad build his business. He was working in the field on the technical side. I was helping him with whatever, the website, the finances, and I was getting a little bit increased using my degree that I was currently at on that business. After I got out of college, I moved back to Sacramento and started working for him again. And I realized that he had built a legit business right away. And I was like, this is actually kind of cool. I'll go to work for you. And I realized that he was expecting me to run the company on the business side. So I was like, I did really well in college. I had like a 3.85 GPA. I was at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. If you've ever been to San Luis Obispo, there's a lot to do there. And I wasn't ready to be a CEO of a company. So I realized.
So how long ago was that?
That was 2009. So yeah, that was 2009, straight out of college, and I took probably another 6 months off and realized this business is growing. There's a lot of potential here. So I went back to school for my MBA at UC Davis. Did night school there while working at the company. We grew that company up to over 100 employees. We were one of the biggest refrigeration companies in California, and we were shipping refrigeration systems all over the world at that point. So that was kind of the plan. We never really, that was what we were doing. That's all we knew, and we were going forward with that. We were then approached by private equity and asked if we wanted to sell the company. And of course we said no. And they said, well, how about we talk a little more? And so we took a dinner and talked to them. And of course it was intriguing. It was a scary thing, like selling your business, especially, for my father making his company. And it was really, we had all of our eggs in one basket there. That was what we were doing. So the prospect of selling the company was, it was a little nerve wracking. We decided to go through with it. And as part of it, we were actually already working on cryotherapy. So that was like a side project, like a custom thing
What
we were doing.
inspired you to start like thinking of freezing people?
Yeah, so since we did custom manufacturing, we would do all kinds, any type of application. Like I mentioned, all the types we would do before. And so we were approached actually by US Cryotherapy to manufacture refrigeration or cryo systems for them. And honestly, I didn't even know what a cryo system was at that point. But we're like, looked at the specs, like, yeah, of course we can do that. We've done this. This is just a much smaller application of what we already do, just much colder as well, though. So we started tinkering with that and had a couple systems for them early on. It was very young in the business, and we said, either we're going to sell this as an additional business as part of that, or carve it out. And we decided to carve it out, and it was two of the best decisions we made at the same time. We were able to sell that refrigeration company, set ourselves up for the future, which was cryotherapy. Definitely never thought we'd be here today on a podcast at the 4th Cryocon with people all over the world. But we went straight into that, and We were, building these systems, had a couple models off the bat, selling just really through U.S. Cryo as they were our main distributor at that point, actually only distributor at that point, to the point where finally the industry started growing, getting an electric side. And that's about 2020, which is about the same time the first Cryocon came up. And that's when we released the Everest model, it was a more affordable, because the previous models were big, they were expensive, and the Everest was kind of a cross between. So we saw this gap between nitrogen systems, the big expensive electric systems, and the gap that wasn't being filled there. Of course, at that time, the market was dominated by nitrogen systems. There were a couple electric systems, and mainly it was going to be like your pro sports teams, college sports teams, a couple franchises like US Cryo and others spattered around. When we released the Everest, I didn't know, how big it was going to get and how quick it was going to catch fire. We did have to push up against the nitrogen industry. There were a lot of doubters. I think you definitely were one of them, and a lot of people here. And through those conversations and coming to the first Cryocon in 2020, releasing a new product in the middle of COVID and the pandemic, was something, again, scary and not new, but it was exciting, and it really took off really well. And I said during that first Cryocon that I'm excited. I think my topic was, what's the future of cryotherapy? And my response, I was on stage, but the response was, this is the future of cryotherapy. It's coming to these things. It's building this industry.
Yes. You said something like, the electric cryotherapy is the future of cryotherapy, and we're already there. We're already in the future.
Yes, exactly.
That's one of my questions.
Okay, perfect.
I'm so glad that you mentioned nitrogen. So what are the distinguishing features and benefits of electric whole body cryotherapy compared to nitrogen-based systems?
Sure. I mean, I think, there's at the end of the day, we're getting things cold. With nitrogen, you're taking a liquefied gas and putting cold into the chamber. You are having that vapor go around your body to do the cooling. It is telling the body that there's a cold environment and triggering the responses in cryo. In electric, it's the opposite. We're not putting cold in, we're taking heat out. So refrigeration it's not actually, you think about the sun, you're getting farther away from the sun, it's taking the heat source away. So similar environment, it's a much more efficient and safe way to do it. Before electric really took off, it was really difficult to get that cold in an electric system. Like, you have your freezers and blast freezers, even the stuff we did before, we'd be like -30, -40, but not as cold as we needed to get with electric to get those benefits. So by doing that allowed us to get those same benefits in a much more efficient and effective and cheaper way to do it, also safer. There were a lot of skeptics at the time. Everyone was really focused on temperature. I mean, the number, I think, I'm pretty sure it's -220 degrees.
Yes, with Juka was like -240.
Or maybe I've seen -370.
Yes.
Some crazy numbers, right? And it was a race to how cold you can get, and that was the only measure of what it could be. And when we came out, we were in that -160 range, and a lot of people were like, well, it's not cold enough. It's not going to get you the desired benefits. And we presented our case, and we're just continued down the path. And over time now, it is, obviously we saw Antra's talk this morning. Electric is still growing rapidly, and it seems to be taking over the nitrogen. There's still a place for nitrogen, just like she said. I mean, I think that there probably always will be. But when you think of efficiency and using a cooling technology like cascade refrigeration that's been around for a long time, it makes it clear of what's going to last. A good example, early refrigeration, they used to bring big blocks of ice down in a cellar, and that ice would cool that area, and they would store their perishable goods down there. Very inefficient and ineffective. So with the introduction of cascade refrigeration or electric refrigeration, it's more efficient, and that's what you see. You don't see a big block of ice cooling food anymore. You don't cool food with nitrogen. So that's where I see it continuing to go. But like I said, there will still always be an area for nitrogen use.
When you said that a few years ago, I remember we were still using Juka, and then soon after that we transitioned to Everest Peak. And I'm still struggling to sell Juka. I feel like nobody wants to deal with nitrogen anymore. and it's been like 3 years, 4 years almost. So can you provide an overview of the current landscape of the industry and maybe its growth trajectory?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think that's an important part to talk about is the the resale market for certain products, and if that's going to exist. I think there is a continued market for it. It's just going to be a lot cheaper than probably what they were bought for. The margins on some of these products that came in. I mean, you think about a nitrogen tank; it's going to be very simple to build. You hook it up to a nitrogen bottle. There are other nitrogen, like the hybrid models, that of course have more technology to them. We see a lot of our customers struggle with that. Just that having a product that they invested in and they can't get rid of, and how they transition to it. So I mean, that's probably a whole topic on its own. But I do see more and more places popping up, and Jack from Brickhouse mentioned today something like, if they don't have the funds to get started with a new, you can buy a used system out there. But
and if
that is
you're
an
not
option.
sure on how busy you will be, so maybe it's better like that you like buy as much nitrogen as you need to
Right.
feed people, like rather than like paying all day long for the maybe electricity for the chamber if you are unsure like of how busy you will be.
Certainly. I mean, I think that's definitely a consideration. It's something you have to think about, what you want your business to be and how you want to capitalize yourself. The one caveat I would put there is don't spend a lot of money on that, because you should have that goal to save up for the long-term product you're going to buy. There are a lot of good financing options out there. So again, another thing with nitrogen electric, it's very important. If you're running the numbers, regardless of how much you pay on the down payment for it, how much is going to cost to operate? And a lot of the people we talk to are actually getting electric chambers financed for the same or way less than what they were paying for in nitrogen. So that's another consideration of return on investment over time, and taking away that, oh man, that's a big sticker price up front, to actually how quickly can I pay this thing off and have an asset that's going to last me a long time, rather than just paying into. It's like renting versus buying a house sometimes.
Absolutely. And in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges and threats facing the industry today?
The challenges and threats I kind of see all as benefits, honestly. Easy one comes top of mind is cold plunge. A lot of people are not sure what to do with cold plunge, and hey, cold plunge is taking our business, and I get that from a store perspective. We've invested this much in cryo, and now everyone's talking about cold plunge. But I've said for a long time that the industry we're in is still growing, and a lot of people aren't even aware of what cryo is, or they have a misconception of what it is or what it does, or oh, it's too cold for me, not good enough. So what I see happening with cold plunge is there's a lot of marketing dollars, hundreds of $1 million being spent on that, and that's what's getting it out there and so popular. So rather than being scared of cold plunge, I think we should probably be embracing it. And I view what I say about cold plunge is it's a gateway drug to cryo. People do cold plunge because it's accessible. They can have it at their house. They can try it. It's getting in cold water. While that's still, everyone doesn't want to get in cold water, it's still like, okay, I can fathom that, rather than walking into a negative 100-something degree room, right? So they try it, they get hooked on the benefits, and then they're more willing to try cryo, or understanding what the benefits are. So like if you have someone come into your store that's never done cryo, they may have now done cold plunge, and you can talk about the benefits. While the benefits are different, they're not the same, there are commonalities between them, and you get that dopamine release in both. And that is a high that's addicting that you want to keep doing. So I think let's embrace cold plunge. I don't think we have to be cold plunge versus cryo as a negative. It can be cold plunge versus cryo as what do you want to do that day, and how do you want to have that as part of your lifestyle.
I love it. So tell us a little bit more about Cryotherapy Chambers Manufacturer Initiative, CCM, of which you are a founding member. How do you envision this organization shaping the future of the industry?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic endeavor. I'm very proud to be part of it and how far we've come. Honestly, when we first started it, it was here last year. The idea had been kicked around for a while, like, hey, we're all doing this. We should kind of talk and work together, pull together to elevate this industry. But it's awkward. You're dealing with your competitors, right? So I didn't know how it was going to go to start, and it's been fantastic. I have a weekly call with the members. We've gone to Dubai for a summit already, and what has come from it, just from my own experience, is we understand each other better. we can compete better together in the marketplace. We don't have to sit in our corners and fight and defend our turf. It's more of we support each other. We even, I saw one of the manufacturers today is coming out with a new feature on their products. This is a safety timer that automatically shuts the system off. Before then, from what I understand, we were one of the only ones that had that. And I always questioned, why do we have a feature that's safety? That should be standard amongst all. So that's already something that's come out. Just this morning, we released technical data on the systems that have historically been hidden or not really clear for the customer, such as temperature, how many amps the systems use, how many sessions you can do per hour based on the model. Really not leveling the playing field, but kind of opening it up for the customers, the buyers of these systems to look at it and see what they're buying. So there's no Wild West type, I bought a chamber and now I don't like it and the manufacturer won't get a hold of me. No buyer's remorse. You know what you're getting before you buy. And not only that, some of the things that we have coming up is like if you do get in a bad situation where you're having an issue with a cryo manufacturer that's part of the CCM, you can go to the CCM and ask for help from the CCM, and the CCM can be a liaison to the CEO of these companies. So a lot of people have my phone number and get a hold of me, but that's not the case for all companies. So, but with the CCM, it's literally almost a direct line to the CEOs of all the companies if you are having an issue or any questions. So I think it's great.
Amazing. So what exciting developments and innovations can we expect from CryoBuilt in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, we have all kinds of stuff in the works. I mean, there's stuff where someone came to us with an idea of cryo for dogs. And they showed us these videos of dogs going in cryo. I've never thought about that. We've always did things for horses, and that's a very popular thing. But dogs are just like us, and they have joints and pains, and I think that can be an interesting idea. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but that's something. I also think that one of the things that's a trend in cryo right now is, having systems, a broader variety of systems to match the need of the customer, being down to like a residential one use per day, all the way up to teams going through multiple at a time. And I think that there's going to be future proliferation into that market. We will participate in that market. We're designing a system right now that will be smaller than the systems we have. It probably wouldn't work for your location. It might, depending on how many sessions you do per day. But the goal is to have products to match everyone's needs and budget. For example, the product we're developing, it's going to not going to do as many sessions as the Everest Peak will do. It's going to take longer to recover. It might not be as cold, but it's going to be cheaper and more affordable for everyone to buy. I have a sauna at my house. I do not have a cryotherapy system at my house. I'm not going to spend over $100,000 on a cryotherapy for myself. But there may be something that's $50,000 or $60,000, something like that. That's more attainable, and I think that that's coming. We do get into now we're dropping temperature, the performance. What are the benefits of that? No one knows the full exact answer, but we all know that cold feels good, and it's a sliding scale from a cold shower to a cold plunge to a cryo that's maybe not as cold as others to cryo that's colder to ultra cold. And that it doesn't have to be one or the other. It should be all. We need more of those, more chambers, more options, and that's another way that CCM will fit in. The CCM is an organization, it's a nonprofit trade association that invites all manufacturers to join to provide this information, where we can then just third-party validated temperatures and all of these things so the customers can know what they're buying. But then also part of that is supporting future research, scientific development. And really allowing for the future of cryotherapy to sustain and not be taken out by something like a cold plunge because we were all too scared of our own shadows and sitting in the corner. So I think it's a huge step for the industry. And without it, I'm not sure where we would be in another 5 years. So I think it's big.
Exciting. All right. So as we wrap up today's episode, we're going to do a quick questionnaire. Think of it as a lightning round where I throw out a question. You give us your rapid fire answer. Are you ready?
Sure. I'm ready.
All right. Sauna or steam room?
Sauna.
Infrared sauna or traditional sauna?
Infrared.
Cold shower or hot shower?
Hot shower. I had a cold shower this morning. It's terrible.
Wet cold or dry cold?
Dry cold.
My next question is like cryosauna or cryochamber?
Cryochamber. Come on.
Shocking. Cryotherapy music, upbeat or calming?
I like upbeat. I tried calming one time. And it was actually very pleasant. So I'd say mix in both depending on your mood.
Got it. Meditation or power nap?
I don't do either. I need to meditate more and I need to take more power naps. So, but I got to say meditation. Okay.
Favorite wellness podcast?
CryoCeo podcast.
You're the second person saying that. Thank you. Favorite wellness book?
Favorite wellness book? Oh my gosh. I'm not sure. Come back to that one.
Sounds good. Ideal wellness retreat, spa in the mountains or wellness resort by the beach?
Mountains, even though I love the beach more, but wellness retreat in the mountains.
Favorite superfood?
Favorite superfood, avocado.
Favorite cheat meal?
I'd have to say Mexican.
Favorite post-workout snack?
Avocado.
I'm a huge on avocado. Favorite workout?
I used to be big in CrossFit, so that's my favorite workout. I don't do it as much as I used to, but now it's more. Actually, right now it's boxing. This is my favorite workout.
My favorite too. Favorite wellness gadget or biohacking tool?
Definitely CryoChamber, but I also have the biocharger at home. I think that's an awesome one. It's
nice.
It's here, so definitely try it. It's a trip. It's literally electric.
Interesting. Aura ring or Whoop band?
I've had the Whoop band. I love it.
What happened?
I could never keep it charged, and that charger, I
You can charge it while it's on the wrist.
I know, I didn't like it. I lost that thing. I'm thinking about doing the Aura ring. I don't love wearing additional rings, so I'd have to kind of replace the wedding ring. My wife gave me the approval to do that, so I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I can't wear another ring, so I might try that one. I do have this watch is actually a smartwatch. It's with things. It's okay. It looks nice, but it doesn't give as much of the data as I really want to see.
Got it. Top tip for optimizing sleep quality?
Brain tap is really awesome for sleep.
Nice. And the last one, if you could only choose one biohacking practice to do daily, what would it be?
Cryo.
And there you have it, folks. A huge thank you to Marcus Wilson for sharing his incredible journey and insights into the world of cryotherapy. Stay tuned for the more fascinating discussions on the CryoCeo podcast. This is your host, Anna, signing off.